It's 4 o'clock on a Monday, and you know what that means, don't you? It's time for another exciting episode of Taxi TV Live. Yeah, baby. Back in saddle again. Now you know why I am not a recording artist. Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's show. I hope I'm an overachiever. I've got a lot of stuff to share with you guys today. Oh, look. I kid you not, 100 pages of notes for today's show. There we go. And today's topic is going to be 3 huge mistakes that can kill your sync placements. And hello to everybody in the chat room. Good to see you. I'm just going to jump right in. Ooh, I need to bring down my mic level just a pinch. System settings. There we go. Sound. Testing, 1, 2, testing. All right, there we go. That should do it. And I'm going to make the air conditioning much chillier than it is, because at 4 o'clock every day it resets itself, and I've tried to deprogram that, but it just won't. Okay. I'm ready to go. You guys buckled in and ready to go. I'm going to move the chat window over here so I can see you better. Pickles and horseradish. Oof. Anyway, I was doing some research the other day and discovered something that's been staring me in the face for decades. I've talked about it a bunch of times. I'm aware of it, you're aware of it, but no matter how many times I say it, people still don't believe it or talk about it or acknowledge it. And it's frustrating, but there's a formula that most successful taxi members use, virtually all of them, especially the members who want to earn income with sync placements. Conversely, after seeing this stuff, I researched a handful, no, more than a handful, like 20 taxi members that had not yet been successful, and I discovered that virtually none of them, none, zero, had used the same formula. I don't know why. I really don't. If somebody said, if you want to be a pro golfer, my favorite analogy, on the PGA Tour, not that I've played golf in like 8 years, but if you want to be a pro golfer and play on the tour, wouldn't you do everything that the pro golfers do, rather than grousing about the fact that you haven't been invited or qualified to play on the tour? Why wouldn't you? It's right there in front of you. Because it takes work and people want reward for no effort? Maybe. But that can't be all people, can it? But if you're frustrated that you're not getting deals or sync placements, or maybe you're getting some, but you'd like to get a lot more, I found evidence. Hard evidence, and I am going to share it with you today. Fort Lauderdale, my old stomping grounds. I used to have a studio there called Triad Recording, Northeast 13th and Commercial Boulevard, right next to Merrifield Kennels. Anyway, and also I uncovered another mistake. I'm calling it here my bonus career saver. It's a time bomb. You know what? I'm going to talk about that one right off the top so I can just rip roar on these other things, because I literally have 100 pages of notes. Dear God, how did I do that? Okay, so the bonus career saver that's time bomb is the other day somebody on the staff showed me an email from a taxi member that had gotten his first deal. I can't remember the whole context of it, but the guy took all 60 of his songs and signed them to the first library that said, hey, we like you, we want to sign this. I've talked about it for a couple of years now in the new member Zooms that we do at the beginning of every month. I encourage people who just joined Taxi not to do what this gentleman did. I haven't spoken to him. I'm sure he's not an unintelligent person, but it was a bad strategic move in my humble opinion, and here's why. Virtually all, if not 100% of music libraries have certain types of clients. One company may work extensively on unscripted reality type stuff. The Bachelor, whatever. And then somebody else might really excel at getting song. Oh, and the first company would use a lot of instrumental music, obviously, if they're doing mostly unscripted stuff, right? And then another company might do a lot of songs that get used for montages at the end of an episode where somebody's in a hospital bed dying and the family's around them. And a song plays, and essentially the lyric of the song says what the actor who's in bed dying doesn't. And it completes a thought. It gives you information. So that's just two examples. There are other companies that excel at getting stuff in trailers and TV promos. There's some that just do TV promos and not so many trailers. There are all these different kinds of companies. So if you put all of your stuff in one company's basket, what you will find out, and here's the time bomb, is that sooner or later, that company is going to lose a really big client of theirs or maybe a few big clients. Reason being, maybe a show's been on for 7, 8, or 9 seasons. It's just time to come to an end. Maybe the show everything was great for the first year. They got a second season, and by the middle of the second season, it started to fizzle. But lo and behold, Library B, that's really good at placing songs and stuff, just lost a show where maybe 30% of all their licenses were happening. So what I'm telling you is, even though, as my dad said to me when I was like 15 years old, don't fall in love. I think he said either don't fall in love or don't marry. Probably don't fall in love with the first girl who kisses you back. And that's what people do is, they've wanted this so badly for so long. And then finally a music library says, hey, Bob, we love that. Great. Do you have anything else, Bob? Yes, I do. Okay, we'd like to sign all this stuff. But what Bob didn't consider is this the best library for that stuff? If you've got, let's say, a lot of metal stuff and hip-hop stuff and hard rock stuff that would be really good for sports TV, maybe that library doesn't really do a lot of sports TV. So what I'm telling you is, even though they kissed you back, it doesn't mean it's the best place for your music. And the library's not being evil about it. They recognize that the quality's there, and in their mind, they might be thinking, sooner or later, someday, somebody's going to want to license this. It's really good. It's usable. It's licensable. Therefore, I'm going to put it in my catalog. Whereas Library A may have 5 clients that could use that all day long. So I'm just reminding you guys again, don't put all of your eggs in one basket. You want to be in 5 or 10 or 15 different libraries. And when a library offers you a deal, say, let me get back to you in an hour. Let me get back to you tomorrow morning. And go look at their website and see the shows that they get placements on. And think to yourself, go watch some episodes of the show. Does that show use my kind of music that I'm about to sign in perpetuity into that catalog? Maybe not. So these are things, this is the stuff they don't teach you at Berklee School of Music. No slam on Berklee. It's just not something that people generally know. And only people who are pretty darn well immersed in sync would know the nuance of that strategy. Okay, so there you go. Okay, so now let's get it on with 100 pages of notes, folks. All right, well, I'm already on page 2. That's good. Okay, so we got this tongue-in-cheek email from a member named Gary Schaffler. Schaffer? S-H-A-F-F-E-R. Gary, thank you for sending this. Remember, this is tongue-in-cheek. He renewed his membership, and here, I've even got, you can see, it's a real email. It's got the email address and all that stuff. Obviously, I blacked out his phone number and stuff. And the subject is a message for Michael, why I renewed. Dear Michael, I just renewed my taxi membership today, and since I'm a former marketing guy, he knows I love marketing apparently, I thought you might want to know why. About 4 years ago, I first learned of sync licensing through a songwriters association. At that time, my understanding of the industry was minimal. It seemed all I had to do was send songs I'd already written to a few libraries and I'd be cashing in. Not true. While some of your members might find early success, my taxi experience resembled the following, and this is where it gets funny. Year 1, damn you, taxi. If you send me one more return, I'm out of here. We've heard that before. P.S. Your screeners don't know what they're talking about. I thought that was funny as hell. Year number 2. Maybe instead of deleting those returns, I should read the reviewer's notes repeatedly. And hey, what's this thing called, the Forwards blog? I'll check it out, but am I much too busy to be checking in on all these other things on the taxi forums? Oh, and please stop sending me emails about the road rally, whatever that is. Year number 3. Fine, you want me to write to briefs or the taxi's listings? I'll write to the briefs. In fact, I'll do you one better. I'll go over the briefs with a fine-tooth comb, and I'll deconstruct those references till I know them inside and out. Where did I learn to do these things? In the taxi forums. Oh, and by the way, you'd be happy to know that I attended this thing you call the road rally, and, well, to be honest, I guess it was helpful. People? Yeah, I met some nice people, smart and talented too, and if I'm being honest, they're also very generous with their time and their knowledge. And I was wondering, is it too early to sign up for this year's road rally? Which is going to be November 6th through the 9th, by the way, and you can sign up by going to taxi.com/rally. Only members get 2 free tickets, folks. He goes on to say, year number 4, I've learned so much, but there's so much more I need to do. That said, I have songs in several libraries, and I'm currently working on sync albums for 2 others. Excluding major holidays, birthdays, the road rally is a red-letter day in my calendar, recently surpassing my fantasy football draft. Wow. Best of all, I'm having fun, which leads me to one final thought. While my goal is to get more and more placements, I realized the other day that the whole taxi experience is about so much more than forwards and deals. It's about self-fulfillment. You give me a reason to create. And as one of your guests on Taxi TV said, yes, I watched that too, he says parenthetically, the deadlines actually help us get stuff done. First of all, I want to thank you, your staff, and all of my amazing taxi colleagues. P.S., which you also said tongue-in-cheek, it seems like you finally hired better screeners. I get forwarded now. All the best, Gary Schaffer. Gary, thank you so much for sending that. It's nice to know that some people out there get it. But you know what? See, a typical kind of progression away from fantasy land into reality land into success land. And you're in your 4th year. So it took you 3 years to figure it out and get it together. That's pretty typical. A lot of people quit 6 months into their first year because they think exactly what you thought in the beginning, which I've got some great songs, I'll send them in. People hear how amazing they are. They'll put them in their catalogs, they'll end up in TV shows. So I'm really grateful that you explained how that's not really the case. Anyway, so Gary touched on a lot of the things and added a 4th, indirectly made a case for what I'd call the dangerous and fatal 5th mistake, and that's putting all your eggs in one basket. And don't let me forget that today I am going to give away 3 books. There they are. Show them, Vanna. Ooh. Ta-da. I am going to give away 3 of those books. So if like by 20 minutes after 5 I haven't mentioned the free books, please remind me so that I can give them away. We haven't done a book giveaway in a very long time. Okay, so here's the formula. Everybody get your pencils out. Go to the road rally. November 6th through the 9th, go to taxi.com/rally and sign up now. Become part of the community on the taxi forum. Oh gosh, I'm shy. I'm lurking. Become part of the community on the taxi forum. The third part of the formula is use feedback from the screeners. I know it's painful. I know they sting. You obviously thought that you had a winner, or you wouldn't have sent it in, and to find out that it wasn't what they needed and it didn't make it over the bar, that's got to hurt. I get it. But somebody telling you that your putting game needs to be improved before we're going to let you on the tour, that could probably hurt, but you're going to listen to them and improve your putting game, right? Enough with the golf analogies already. Like I said, I don't think I've played in 8 years. And then the fourth thing is watch Taxi TV, but I'm not going to harp on that too much because, well, here you are. So here's the evidence, folks. 100 pages of it. First one, and I just went down a list of Taxi member success stories that are sitting on our website. Nobody ever looks at them because people all over the internet say, gee, has anybody ever had any success through Taxi? I give up. I really do. All right. Title on this one's 28 songs signed via the Taxi Road Rally listening panel from Stuart Thaler in Peoria, Arizona. The rally strikes again. I've gotten 28 tunes signed since October 2024 with one library. There you go. 28 things signed with one library. Stuart, I love you for reporting the deal, but you might have put too many eggs in that one basket. The library owner was one of the panelists at the 2023 Road Rally. One of my songs is played and reviewed live in the ballroom. So there you go. Here's another one. Signed deals via the Road Rally and now through submissions to listings. This is from Dennis Hewitt. I've been a Taxi member for a number of years, received a decent number of forwards. I've also signed with a few libraries. Until now, all these contracts have come specifically from connections made at the Taxi Road Rally. Then it goes on, blah, blah, blah. My earlier point about the rallies is why I highly recommend the Taxi Road Rally. Anyone who misses the rally is, in my opinion, missing out on the most important part of what Taxi offers. You can learn and achieve a great deal from all that Taxi provides, but nothing compares to what you get from attending a road rally. Next one is from 100 plus tracks signed and global placements galore. This is from Robert Cavanis Jr. in Elkland, Missouri. Good state. I was born in St. Louis. I love Missouri. And I'm not reading the entire thing. It's fairly long. I'm going to just read the highlighted sections of these. And yes, I'm going to recycle all this paper. Additionally, I secured a placement with a highly successful podcast called Chicks on the Right, which has over 2 million followers across platforms. My song plays on a loop for 2 full hours in the live stream chat room until the show starts. While this placement wasn't directly tied to Taxi, it actually was, because every success I've had is due to everything I've learned from Taxi, whether it's through the road rally, the connections I've made, or most importantly, following my screener's advice to the letter on every submission. Taxi has been crucial. In just the past few months, I've signed 30 tracks this year with existing publishers wanting more material and new briefs. I've also secured 1 new publishing deal and 1 new sync agent deal, totaling 7 deals from Taxi in my second year. Last year, I signed roughly 100 tracks, both instrumentals and songs, which made me realize I could actually do this and that the Taxi system truly works. I literally could not have done any of this without you guys, so thank you again for all that you do for us. Since signing up 2 years ago, Taxi has delivered every single time. It has absolutely changed my life. You're the best. But remember, he said the road rally and listen to the screeners. 2 of the parts of the formula. You want to be like these guys? Just do what they do. Doesn't get any easier. This is from Dean Turner. Yo, Dean. Love Dean. Good guy. Skipping all the stuff prior to this. He talks about having placement in Tyler Perry's show, Sisters, Tyler Perry's Bra on BET, Shadow Dance and Cold IQs of his, Love at First Sight on MTV. Additionally, a show called Catfish on MTV regularly features some of my cues. Catfish pays really, really well. All these placements have stemmed from relationships with music libraries I forged through Taxi either from forwards or from attending the road rally. Okay, moving on. Signed 3 tracks to 2 established music libraries via taxi. This is from Albin Hillberg in Stockholm, Sweden. At the road rally in November, I learned a ton from experienced music supervisors and other taxi producers, and I met future co-writers like Tom Quick and Chris Dubrock. So that's something that happens all the time. You'll hear other people mention it. You don't have any contacts. You've had no placements. You have no deals. You happen to sit next to somebody in the ballroom, or you meet them at lunch or having a beer at night or the elevator or a hallway or whatever. You become friends. Well, they've already got stuff in catalogs, and now you are co-writing, co-producing with them, and therefore you get in with those same catalogs and they get to know you. Why? Because you went to the road rally. Here's one from Eric Lamb. 2 of his 70 songs have been signed by a great company. He's from Oceanside, California. I'm going to skip over all the stuff that's not highlighted. I finally decided to start attending the road rally each year, and this year it paid off with a contract from a top-of-the-line publisher/label for 2 of my songs, Window Pane and Headin' Out, that I recorded clear back in the late 70s, my era. Songs I had long since stashed away thinking they'd seen their day. I have to thank Michael and everyone at Taxi for their continuous push to help everyone in the music industry connect and succeed. You have helped me push forward and continue to do so. Why did that deal happen? Because... here's a note from the company that signed him. Eric, I want to share with you and our friends at Taxi your 2 fantastic 70s tunes. It's all started with our co-founder meeting you at Taxi's conference, the Road Rally, which is pretty cool to be able to share, he says. The Road Rally. Who knew? Only people who've been there. Here's one from Marco Ianello that flies over frequently from Manchester in the UK. Saw Marco at this year's rally. Very nice man. I especially want to mention the annual Road Rally Conference. It's a fantastic chance to meet fellow family members like you guys and industry professionals, providing great opportunities to network, reconnect with old friends, and make new ones. I'm definitely looking forward to attending this year's rally. The dude flies over from the UK. Their album of Christmas string quartets got signed because of the road rally. This is from Michael Hurwitz from East Sound, Washington. I'm skipping all the unhighlighted stuff. I'm going to make it through all 100 pages. This project was born during a one-to-one mentoring session Sharon and I had with the music library owner at the road rally. Robin, who'd already worked with this library and highly recommended it, joined the collaboration shortly thereafter. During the mentor session, we played a piano-violin instrumental track. Based on Sharon's violin skills, the library owner expressed interest in us creating an acoustic Christmas string quartet album. That's a mouthful. Right after the session, we talked to Robin in the hallway, and she was excited to join the project. Again, the road rally. None of this would have happened if they weren't at the rally. Here's one from Brenna Swanger in Endicott, New York. My stuff got signed, blah, blah, blah. Not to discount it, but I got to move pretty quickly here. I also attended the Taxi Road Rally and left with direct music library opportunities, new collaboration friends, and I was thrilled to be the runner-up in the pop-up studio contest. I remember Brenna. Hi, Brenna. Here's one from Janet Brooks. Hi, Janet. Coopersburg, PA. Got her very first royalty payment from a placement. Skimming down to the highlight. Becoming a Taxi member has been one of the best decisions I've made in my music career. Aside from the deals and placements, I've learned so much about the business from Taxi TV and the Road Rally. Do you see a theme? I do. Here's one from Bill Gordon. Yo, Billy Bob, Baltimore, Maryland, USA. All of my numerous placements are a testament, and he's got a lot, a testament to Taxi's unwavering dedication to helping musicians find meaningful outlets for their work. Taxi is the reason you can use words honorable and music biz in the same sentence. Aw, thanks, Bill. I look forward to connecting with my amazing colleagues every year at the Road Rally. By far the most inspiring, motivating, information-packed, and love-filled music conference in the industry. This year will mark my 25th Road Rally. 25. Here's another one from Michael Lehman in Chapel Hill, Australia. 7 tracks published resulting from the Road Rally. I traveled all the way from Brisbane, Australia to attend the Road Rally. During the event, I registered for a one-to-one mentor session with the library owner/mentor. We met on Saturday afternoon. I provided a QR code link to several of my nylon string guitar tracks. The mentor's reactions were unforgettable. First, Michael, this is your lucky day. And second, how many more similar tracks could you provide in the next 3 months for a flamenco-ish album? I am quite certain this opportunity would not have happened if I hadn't attended the Road Rally. I previously hoped that Taxi Forward would eventually lead to a deal, but after 3 or 4 forwards over the years without anybody following up, this direct connection at the Road Rally was a game changer. Next one's from Jeffrey Sweeney Taylor, Long Island City, New York. Skipping directly to the highlighted stuff. We love the sync music education that Taxi offers, as well as access to high-quality libraries that need our music. Both of these were on full display at the recent Road Rally, which was our first. We learned so much and had the opportunity to meet so many interesting and successful people in the sync industry. Thank you so much, Taxi. Next one from Joy Diebold in Yorktown, Indiana. 32 songs signed and 8 placements already. Joy says, I'm so excited to announce I recently signed my first deal with a music publisher. My song was signed for possible placement under an exclusive single song contract. The opportunity was only feasible due to Taxi and the Road Rally, which I attended last year. As a result of the rally, I made some great connections with some pretty awesome people who were willing to help. Thank you to everyone at Taxi for being so gracious with your time and effort to help others succeed. Here's one from our very own Greg Carroza, Albuquerque, New Mexico. The title on this one has had nearly 1,000 placements on more than 100 TV channels worldwide. Here's an email from Greg. It's been 5 years since I signed my first track from a Taxi Forward. Now I have over 750 tracks signed with 40 different publishers. See that? Greg is one of our smartest members in that he listens carefully and does everything that we've told him, and he's learned from his fellow members. 40 different publishers. Not 1, not 2, not even 4, 40. On top of that, I've had nearly 1,000 placements across more than 100 channels worldwide. Recently, I discovered that one of my instrumental hip-hop tracks, Thinking Out Loud, was placed during the NFC Championship game between the Detroit Lions and San Francisco 49ers on Fox that earned over $2,500 in royalties. I've also had national TV and internet ads for Samsung and Hyundai. How do we say it? Thanks to collaborations with fellow Taxi members John Pearson and Becky Kettleson. The feedback I've received from Taxi submissions has been invaluable. Hello, this guy's successful. The feedback has been invaluable in helping me improve my work, getting tracks signed, and landing placements. If I hadn't joined Taxi and attended the Road Rally, I wouldn't have the career or the friendships I built along the way. After just 5 short years, I'm proud to now serve as a mentor at the Road Rally and give back as much as I've learned to others. Congratulations, Greg. You deserve it. You get everything right. You follow the rules. Taxi Forward that resulted in a deal 4 years later from Todd Dunnigan, Boise, Idaho. Waiting is the hardest part. Here's the full story. We, True Swans, that he's in with Michelle Lindley. Got an email out of the blue from the head of A&R, fairly large, well-distributed music library, who said he loved 2 tracks we submitted to Taxi and got forwarded to him 4 years earlier. Patience is a virtue. This has developed into a relationship where regularly signing tracks from us. Confident these tracks are going to be placed showing up on our TuneSat. Honestly, we haven't been doing too many taxi submissions lately because we've developed so many direct relationships from the connections made through taxi that we literally don't have the time to develop new relationships. I guess that's a success story in and of itself. We remain taxi members even though we're not submitting so much, primarily because of the Taxi Road Rally. We find the Road Rally is worth the price of membership alone. Taxi also helps us see what companies are asking for so we can keep our finger on the pulse of what's hot right now. So that's the case for a lot of these members that have become successful, have their music in multiple libraries. They don't bother to submit because they've got direct relationships with the companies that they've met through taxi. So we actually have a problem. This literally has 2025 has been like a renaissance for taxi. We've got the best listings coming in that we've ever had, more listings coming in, I believe, than we've ever had. And oftentimes we look at the submission numbers on stuff that we thought we'd have a slam dunk batch of stuff to send to the company, and we go, we only got 37 submissions and only found 4 things that were forwardable. I'm just making those numbers up, but they're believable in the ballpark. It's just so many of our members have become successful using us that they don't submit. So for those of you who are not members or are former members and watching this, former members especially, this is a really, really good time to renew or join because the opportunities are there. A lot of opportunities, really good ones. I mean, sometimes we go through periods where we get squirrely requests for, my favorite Dutch heavy metal with female vocals. A lot of really accessible stuff that a lot of our members do has been coming in lately. And you guys who aren't members yet or who used to be members and gave up or used to be members and got busy with your life, now is a really good time to come back. This one's from Tom Lerner, LA, California. Taxi put me in touch with the CEO of a leading music library by way of a panel at the Road Rally a few years ago. One of my, that was it, period. Okay, moving on. This one's from Fran Lucci in Woodland Hills. I know Fran. I used to live in Woodland Hills. Hi, Fran. Hello, Woodland Hills. One of my favorite taxi experiences came during a road rally. Michael Lloyd, a well-known music producer, Dirty Dancing, soundtrack, and many other huge hits, happened to be singing on a song critique panel. My song didn't get played during the panel, however, Michael Lloyd generously agreed to listen to taxi member songs on his own time, which he has done for sure. He's a very close friend of mine. I know he does this. After the panel, I introduced myself, gave him my song. A few weeks later, he called me saying he loved my song, wanted to hear more. Since then, Michael Lloyd and I have become friends and co-writers, having written several songs together. All the songs we wrote together were produced by him and have been placed in films and TV series. Of course, this long-standing relationship would have never come to pass had it not been for the Taxi Road Rally and the meticulously planned panels. There you go. There's a young man whose name always escapes me, but like 4 years ago, I think it was maybe the 2019 Road Rally, right before COVID, a young man who was literally a young man. He was like 15, 16 years old or something, followed Michael Lloyd out of the ballroom, stopped him, chatted him up, got him to listen to his music, and that kid now, because he came to the Road Rally, is signed to Curb Records, and they're putting out his album, and it happened because he came to the Road Rally. Rachel Evergreen, Franklin, Tennessee. About 10 years ago, I joined Taxi, made a connection at the Road Rally with a contemporary Christian music publisher. She took me under her wing and eventually signed me to her company's roster. There you go. This lady's now moved on and also does sync stuff. Here's another one titled, got her 50th song signed to a company she met through Taxi 10 years ago. This is from FM Kasi, Auckland, New Zealand. We all love FM. She's been around for a long time. Many members really, really like her a lot. FM says, much of my success has been directly through taxi or through co-writers I met at the Taxi Road Rally. I love going to the Road Rally every year, which I think is my favorite thing about taxi. Well, you're my favorite thing about Auckland. There you go. Thanks for sending us that note, FM. This one's from Casey Hurwitz, Fort Washington, PA. Relationships on the Road Rally are great. Every year I meet new collaboration partners. In my opinion, networking with your peers is the most important part of the experience, in addition to the learning. Of course, people do make contacts with industry pros, but I always advise people to not make that your make or break goal for the rally. Michael Miller, Champaign, Illinois. Scooting down to the highlight. I've learned so much from Taxi TV and the free conference, the Road Rally. Here's one from Marilyn Hall, San Antonio, Texas. My favorite thing about Taxi is the support it gives members through its annual conference, the Road Rally. Here's one from Tim Walker, Tampa, Florida. Signed 6 sports rock pieces. I signed 4 songs from connections I made at the Road Rally. I met a music library owner there. He was saying he had the immediate need for sports rock type of things, and this is exactly the style I've been writing in. We exchanged contact information, and I sent him a playlist. When I got home, he was prompt in getting back to me with what songs he wanted. Since I made that post, he's picked up 2 new songs as well. I've now got 6 songs signed. Fairly new to Taxi, but I can say that the Road Rally is an incredible opportunity for learning and networking. Here's Michael Lehman from Chapel Hill, Australia. Again, I believe, second one, I think. Traveled from Australia recently to attend my first Road Rally, and this trip included a brief and memorable California holiday with my wife beforehand. This was our first visit to the USA. Music library owner who attended the rally liked the 2 flamenco-ish style tracks, which he listened to in a Road Rally mentor session, which everybody gets a free mentor session. You sign up when you get there. We'll give you a list of mentors so you can peruse it and think about who your top 3 choices are. And then when you get to the Road Rally and get registered, you go to a mentor registration desk and try to get the mentor of your dreams. And this is how things turn out. Let's see, listen to it in a Road Rally mentor session, and another track since then has now offered a deal. He also asked me how many more similar tracks I could provide him with in the next 3 months. Would you believe it? I would say that if I hadn't made the effort to attend the Road Rally from Australia, I should point out, this would not have happened. Yeah. And then you would have been frustrated and maybe not renewed, but you came to the Road Rally. You did the right thing. You did the smart thing. It paid off. Here's one from Rob Gardner, Akron, Ohio. I had a co-writer on those tracks. Again, I'm going right to the highlights. Co-writer on the tracks, a gentleman I initially met through Taxi at last year's Road Rally conference. We signed a vocal song. Yeah, we signed a vocal song and another with a well-known company whose owner I met at the Eat and Greet luncheon at the Road Rally. Here's one from Rhett Davis, Winter Park, Florida. Going down to the highlight, thanks to my contact with one of the Road Rally presenters a few years ago, I've successfully transitioned from being a radio-friendly songwriter of the 70s to a more current Americana alternate folk writer for today's TV and sync market. So there you go. So if he's a radio-friendly songwriter 70s, he's my age. He's old, really old. But, you know, old dog, new tricks, because he met the right person at the Road Rally. Here's one from Bob Meddy. Speaking of old, I'm kidding, Bob. I love Bob. One of our more successful members and a very hardworking, very intelligent, very strategic guy. More placements for Bob. Both of these were placed by taxi-friendly publishers. My relationship with these publishers came from an interaction at the Road Rally. Here's one from Douglas Knight, Orlando, Florida, US of A. Going to the highlight. In the past, I completed several other projects due to Taxi listings, and I'm excited to see how and when my music will be used. What I love about Taxi is that it's helped me stretch and grow as a musician and a producer. It has exposed me to many great artists, and I've learned how to create music in several new genres. A lot of people are afraid to take that step. Additionally, I enjoy being part of the supportive community of like-minded musicians. I've received tons of helpful feedback through the Taxi Forum, part of the formula. I've made great connections at last year's Road Rally. Do you see a pattern here? Again, with the air conditioner. Come on. It says eco. I want to deprogram the eco on this thing. Cool set to 66 degrees. Delayed. Oof. I'm roasting over here. Okay. Both of these were placed by taxi-friendly publishers. My relationship with these publishers came about from an interaction at the Road Rally. Yeah, we knew that. I did that one already. Helpful feedback through Taxi Forum. I made great connections at last year's Road Rally. Liz, can you please go down to Eshmita's office and ask her to be a little quieter and to shut her door, please? She's distracting my grand opus. All right. This one's from Vincent Nicotina. He was on a panel at the Road Rally in 2023, I believe. Very nice man. Lengthy. Talks about $1,000 sync fee, true crime show, blah, blah, blah. All these successes came from connections I made at the Taxi Road Rally over the last 2 years. I met a library owner through the Taxi Mentor program at the Road Rally, signed a contract and writing a lot of music for him. Through connections I made with other composers in that first library, I got pulled into 2 other libraries and released music through them as well. This year, 2 years from where it all began, I finally found out where all that music has been used and finally started getting paid. Why did all this happen? Well, because he went to the Road Rally. Here's one from Helen Young, Austin, Texas. At the last Road Rally, I made some connections, and one, a music library owner, recently invited me to pitch for an orchestral thing. My piece was signed. Library owner then asked for submissions, some other genres he was looking for. I submitted a piano and cello piece, and it was also signed. I'm happy and thankful for the great connection I made through Taxi at the Road Rally and looking forward to attending again this year. Here's one from Braden Wood in Titusville, Florida. For those of you who don't know, Titusville is like right next door to Cape Canaveral. They get to see all the rocket launches really up close. His manager told him he was in a signed band, Before You Exit. He was founding member and toured with the pop rock band Before You Exit. His manager recommended that he join Taxi. November rolled around. Attended my first Road Rally conference in LA. It was an awesome trip. I gained valuable insight and made lots of great connections with other producers and songwriters there. Shortly after the conference, I submitted to 2 Taxi listings under the advertising heading. They both mentioned that the placements could be in the ballpark of $10,000 for the creative fees or sync fees. One was a Calm Serene ad, the other was sports-oriented TV commercial. Little did I know that the listings came from the same sync company. Both submissions passed through Taxi's screening. Shortly after, I got a call from music licensing company to discuss the songs and what working together could look like. Since then, that company has signed many of my songs and placed them in TV commercials like Jack Daniels, Alta, and the Teachers Credit Union. And to top it all off, the Jack Daniels ad made over $40,000. So Taxi's listings didn't lie. I could have told you that, Braden. Congratulations. Getting a $40K check is nice. I think the best part about Taxi is the free education that I've gotten. Still, Braden. Taxi TV is such a great learning spot. part of the formula. And the road rallies are so worth the time and effort to travel to. So many people like, oh, I don't want to get on a plane, fly across country, go to a place where I don't know anybody. Wham, wham, wham. Get over it. Toughen it up, baby. Come to the road rally. So worth the time and effort to travel to, as you gain so much in such a short time there. From the classes to the panels to the mentors and relationships you leave with. It really felt like Michael, Taxi CEO, Exhibit A, and all the team genuinely wanted to see everyone thrive. That's true. I'm very grateful for Taxi. Love getting to work with the great music licensing companies that I've met. Here's one from Janet Brooks in Coopersburg, PA, going down to the highlight. I've been a member for 3 years. I've learned so much about the industry from the excellent content Taxi provides. I went to my first live road rally last year, and it was a fantastic experience, worth the membership fee on its own. We hear that all the time. Oh, do I have to renew to go? Yeah. Because of Taxi, I'm much better at reading the briefs, listening to the references. Good for you. In writing music that the client is looking for, I think Taxi cares about its members and really tries to help everyone succeed. Well, thank you for noticing that. Here's one from Seth Stone in White Plains, New York, going down to the highlight. The thing I like most about Taxi is the feedback, through the feedback on my many, many, many returns, as well as attending panels at the road rally, tuning into Taxi TV, etc. I've been able to keep myself in a constant state of learning about the sync world. My forward return ratio has improved dramatically. 4 out of my 5 most recent submissions were forwarded, an insane improvement over the last 12 months. If you look at my ratio from 24 months ago, it's not even close. I'm finally able to hone in more accurately on exactly what it is the reference tracks and the publishers are looking for. Thank you for saying that, Seth. I'm telling you, for everybody that says Taxi didn't work for them, it didn't work for you because you're not doing what these people did. Here's one from Holland Young, married to Helen Young. At the road rally, my orchestral piece, Reaching Dreams, was randomly selected and played during a listening panel session in the Grand Ballroom. The panelists had positive comments, but I didn't think it would be picked up because no one on the panel said they had a specific use for it. 6 months later, one of the panelists contacted me wanting to sign the song for a music library. Libraries also needed some solo guitar pieces, which I produced. All those got signed as well. Currently, 5 of my tracks have been signed, all stemming from that experience at the road rally. I definitely plan to attend this year's road rally. Hang on a second. I'm going to move my keyboard right there. Okay, now I've got a little more room. This one's from Greg Carosa and David Zimmer. Going down to the highlights. Additionally, Greg shared an anecdote about how he and co-writer David Zimmer coincidentally met at the road rally while sitting next to each other during a music listening panel. I don't make this stuff up. It really happens. Their collaboration, they were sitting next to each other in a session in the main ballroom. Their collaboration expanded to creating Christmas songs for a taxi-friendly publisher and signing original songs with yet another taxi-friendly publisher. These connections ultimately led to their most recent placements on the show, All American on the CW network. David also mentioned his placements on The Young and the Restless and another on the National Geographic Channel. He attributed these accomplishments to the connections made through Taxi, the road rally, and the education provided by Taxi through the road rally and Taxi TV. Here's another one from Casey Hurwitz. How did he get in here twice? What I love about Taxi is how listings keep you motivated to create new music and stay current as to what's in demand for film and TV. I can't say enough about the Taxi community and collaboration with other members. For those of you who are not collaborating, get with the program. It doubles your chances. The forum, the road rally, and the resulting collaborations are responsible for almost all of my successes to date. And I want to say that he's up to like 37 placements of his songs in Not All My Children, whatever. It's had stuff on Chicago Fire, blah, blah, blah. Actually, Chicago Fire's a really good show. I like it. This one's from Garrett Miller, Visalia, California, going down to the yellow stuff. I had the privilege of attending the road rally where I learned a great deal. I had the chance to meet some amazing people. I'm eagerly looking forward to the next road rally. We hear that all the time. Here's one from Marty Achito in Cambria, California. Here's Marty's email. Thanks for the email. It's the 11th placement from this terrific company. Okay, so he met a company. No, let me read it. Thanks for the email. It's the 11th placement from this terrific company. I'm so thrilled that they're working my old songs from the 60s, 70s, and 80s. It's all from a taxi listing several years ago. I was able to meet the company's CEO at the road rally. That's another thing that happens at the road rally. You've already got relationships with people, but you meet the CEO, buy him a beer, brings you top of mind. It enhances the relationship. Do good things come from enhanced relationships? You bet. Right after he contacted me about the listing. From there, this company has been amazing. They are honest, dedicated to the writers and songs, truly nice people. It's all because of taxi, so thank you again. Here's one from Aaron Northern in Cordova, Tennessee. So this is more of an FYI to new members and other members that feel frustrated. Hello, frustrated people, pay attention. I became a taxi member in May of 2019 and right away went on to make all the usual new member mistakes. I went to that year's road rally and felt so out of place because I met so many good people that had a gang of forwards and some with deals. I had a bunch of returns. I decided at the rally I would learn whatever it took to have success. Surprisingly, I checked my email on the last day of the rally and I saw that I'd gotten my first forward. I got home, began watching Taxi TV and communicating with those I met at the rally. I now have tons of forwards, and at the end of this month, over 8 instrumentals signed to 2 different music libraries, plural. Hopefully placements are not far off. So be patient is his message, and I could not agree more. Thank you for sending that one in. Here's one from Rondé in Seattle, Washington, from the company that signed Rondé, emailing Taxi, writing to let you know that Rondé signed an excellent vintage tune called Love Resurrection by his band Day with our company. This one took a while to get lined up, and it's cool that the final piece has started to fall into place at this year's road rally. Here's one from John Lewitt, Toronto, Canada. I was at the road rally and one of my taxi friends suggested I submit songs to a specific music library that was there. A year later, his library got me my first placement on The Young and the Restless, and on my birthday to boot. Yay, that's always cool. Since then, I've gone from a couple placements a year to multiple placements a month on that show. To date, that show has used 11 of my songs, with 9 of them being used multiple times. Goes on to say both those songs were collaborations done with other taxi members who I met at the road rally. So if you can't guess, the rally is my favorite thing about taxi. By bringing together like-minded people, it not only inspires me each year, but also offers concrete opportunities to advance my music career the old-fashioned way, networking. Could not have said it better. Here's one from Sky Knox in Manhattan Beach, California. I'll go into the highlight. There's one thing I've discovered over these past many years in the world of sync. When you have an organization and or group of hardworking people behind your music, you see results. What I like most about Taxi is they support songwriters and artists by educating us on the business and provide briefs and professional opportunities to excel and further our careers. The Taxi Road Rally conventions also offer great ways to learn what's happening now in the music business and connect with industry pros and collaborators. Neil McGinnis from Gardnerville, Nevada. Recently, another music library I met at the Taxi Road Rally a few years back placed 2 of my tracks on True TV, on a show on True TV. 101 places to party before you die. Oh, I'm sorry I missed that one. Yeah, no comment. Here's one from Taxi member Nick Moxham. I remember Nick. Nick, I haven't seen you in forever. I met this music library CEO at my first Taxi Road Rally. A very exciting and uplifting experience for me. Let's see if there's anything more from that one. Nope, that was it. So another case of a guy meeting a CEO at the road rally. Here's one from Paul Croteau, Universal City, Texas. My placement in the recent Christmas movie Spirited, starring Will Ferrell and Ryan Reynolds, came through a taxi client I met during the mentor lunch at my first road rally back in 2015. So there you go. My first placement in the recent Christmas movie Spirited, starring Will Ferrell and Ryan Reynolds, came through a taxi client that I met during the mentor lunch at my first road rally. And some of you watching today have never been to one. You came up with excuses to stay home. Oh, the plane fare is too much. I might be uncomfortable. You won't. Trust me, you will not. Give it 5 minutes and you will feel like you're at a high school reunion with all of your best friends. And yet people, every year, they push it off. One more year. I'm going to go next year. They've always got an excuse. And yet they want to be successful in the industry, but they don't do these things that are part of this formula, which brings success. Do they really want to be successful? I got to wonder. I think they're afraid of success. They're afraid that maybe they'll find out they're not as good as they think they are or say they are. I don't know. I'm not a psychiatrist. I might need one by the time I finish today's show. Here's one from John Pearson, Hendersonville, Tennessee. My road rally one-to-one mentor was the owner of a Hollywood music library. He listened to some of my music and signed several tracks. He put me on a list to receive future project briefs. I submitted to many of those briefs, and the library owner subsequently signed several more of my songs and instrumental cues. One of those was a sports rock cue written by my friend James Thacker, titled Throw Down. Love Thacker. He's been on Taxi TV. He's a personal friend. Fast forward to fall of 2022, and I received an email from library owner. Throw Down had been placed in a trailer/teaser on CBS for the season premiere of the hit show SWAT. I would not have met this library owner and gotten this placement if I hadn't gone to Taxi's free convention, the Road Rally. Here's one from Eric Anderson, Hillsborough, New Jersey. I really have to give a lot of thanks to Taxi and the staff for helping me along the way and preparing me for each next step. The Taxi TV episodes are incredibly informative, almost like taking an online course, but way more fun. You call this fun? No, it is. Not to mention the Road Rally, a great way to meet fellow Taxi members, become friends, help each other, and to collaborate. And lastly, the Taxi Forum. There it is. The forum popping back up again is an awesome place to get help with any questions and also get really helpful feedback or advice for your latest and current work. Here's one from Terry Sorfleet in Penistone, UK. Hi guys, as a direct result of attending the Road Rally and applying what I learned, I had my first Taxi Forwards. Not only that, a music library signed one of the Taxi Forwards and also signed more of my tracks. Today I received a royalty payment from PRS for those tracks, and what a feeling that was. Additionally, Terry wrote, my advice to anyone doubting the worth of the Road Rally is get yourself there. You'll learn such a lot over 3 fantastic days, and it's absolutely free. Yes, it is. 2 free tickets for every member. As a new member, I decided to fly from the UK to attend the rally, and I was so pleased that I did. I learned so much at the rally by attending as many classes and sessions as I could fit in, but one of the biggest lessons for me was talking to the Taxi screeners. They explained how important it was to listen to the reference tracks supplied with the listings and try to deconstruct those tracks to work out how to recreate the sound and vibe that the listing was asking for. So since then, that's what I've been doing, and bingo, it worked. No surprise there. Um, okay, this one's from Michelle Lindley and Todd from True Swans again. This year, going the road rally, True Swans have signed 33 songs into 10 different libraries. Smart, 10 libraries, not one. We're currently finishing a contract to deliver 12 pop songs, and we've also had our first TV placement on 2 episodes, The Williams Family Cabin. We've collaborated with some of the Taxi superstars like Matt Vanderbilt and Greg Carrozza, and gotten friendly with others like Robbie Hancock. When you track our success, all roads lead back to Taxi. Even if we answered a brief directly from the library, we started that relationship with the library from a Taxi listing. Here it goes on further. Our relationships with 5 additional libraries came about through Taxi connections. What we like best about the community of people at Taxi is we've been able to meet. What we like best is the community of people that we've been able to meet. We found a ton of support from those who've gone before us, and a couple hundred returns, wow, helped us hone our craft. So they listened to the feedback a couple hundred times. They must be really good now. Well, here you go. We're so much better than when we started, thanks to all the feedback we've gotten. I'm telling you, folks, it's all out there. It's obvious. All you got to do is do it. Wow, it's 5:01 already. I'm really going to have to go faster. I want so badly when I get through 100 pages. Doesn't look like it's going to happen. Skip that one. Here's another one that talks about the education feedback from the listings, taxi forums in the road rally. Here's one from Robin Ravazzini, Reno, Nevada. Messed that one up. Sorry, Robin. Here's one from Mark Zubek, Toronto, Canada. I finally decided to join Taxi this past year at 43 years old, and holy smokes, I'm kicking myself that I waited this long. I've seen the Taxi ads in all the magazines for over 20 years and never gave it a shot. When I finally joined a few months ago, I decided to go all in and test it out for 1 year, submitting every time I saw a listing I felt would fit. I hope he wasn't over-submitting. Wouldn't you know it, my 4th month at Taxi, got my first deal, a whopper, a license for 16 of my songs all at once for an upfront music licensing fee of $5,600 in cash. Well, probably not actual cash, maybe Bitcoin or something. I don't think anybody came to the road rally with $5,600 in cash in a brown paper bag. Plus all the songwriting royalties, which I'm guessing probably did even better over time. My membership and all my submissions have paid for themselves 6 times over in the first 4 months. I'm now 7 months into my first year with Taxi, and I've received 65 forwards so far and 2 big deals. I went to the rally in November, which was well, in all caps, worth it. I met up with the infamous Rob Shirelli there, who remembered me from a 2-week session we did together in 1999. We've since reconnected our relationship over the phone and email, well worth the price of admission. Oh yeah, the road rally is free. Here's one from Maggie Laird in Vashon, Washington. My deal with this publisher began at the road rally. I approached the company's owner at the bar and asked if he'd be interested in hearing my recordings. I'd seen him on a panel and knew he handled vintage music. He was very receptive, asked for my card, said someone from his office would be calling soon. Sure enough, the following week I got a call from them, was asked to send in some of my 80s material. They picked Leon's song about a cat sung in French. Talk about a niche tune. It says, what I appreciate most about Taxi is the annual road rally, where there's a convergence of all these possible pursuits, whether one chooses a single focus or a smorgasbord. It's also reassuring and rejuvenating to meet and chat with so many others who understand the joys and dilemmas of this multifaceted career. Okay, here's one from Carrie Combe from Darling Lakes, Canada. Wow, Darling Lakes. Carrie reports, sorry, I had two tracks, cellos and guitar Christmas carols placed in the BBC series The Last Woman on Earth with Sarah Pascoe. They were originally submitted through a taxi listing, after which the library signed 3 of my albums and various other tracks. It really came about, though, after attending the Road Rally. One of my tracks was played for the panel, and they kind of liked it, but couldn't think of a commercial use for it. They said I should record some PD Christmas carols or something. So I did 2 beautiful albums and had tracks to send when a taxi listing came up requesting that. The listing led me to signing 3 additional albums and various other tracks to the library. Might be too many eggs in one basket there. And I just learned that 2 of the tracks were placed in the BBB series, The Last Woman on Earth with Sarah Pascoe. I watch a fair amount of taxi TV, but for me, nothing comes close to the Road Rally experience. I love the amount and scope of information, meeting so many like-minded people, and the mentor program. However, my absolute favorite thing about taxi is that I can trust the information and the people behind it. Meeting some of them at the Road Rally and seeing how things were run really enforced this feeling. Here's one from Eric Dick in Malibu, California. Last, a song was reviewed very favorable at the Road Rally conference, which has so far resulted in one deal offer, which I'm contemplating at the moment with a top-notch music licensing company. Here's one from David Mao, Golden Beach, Oregon. He says, this deal started with a forward from Taxi probably 5 or 6 years ago, then a chance meeting with the CEO of the company at the rally. Took more of my songs into his catalog, and one of the songs actually got placed in CBS's Young Sheldon twice. And if I remember correctly, that show pays a pretty good sync fee up front, and the back end is really good because it's primetime network television. Here's another one from Neil McGinnis, Gardnerville, Nevada. My composition, Sweet Sue, found its way into a national TV ad spot for LL Flooring, which is formerly Lumber Liquidators, for those of you who live in the United States. Song was placed by a music library I met during a taxi road rally. It's a sweet 5-digit payout because he went to the road rally. Here's one from Robert Malka in Knoxville, Tennessee. Bear in mind, too, that I still consider myself fairly new at this. I joined Taxi in 2017. Started with the usual, let's take these 3 songs I recorded rather poorly and submit them to this one listing. And of course, they got returned. However, the feedback I received was so detailed and so useful, I was hooked immediately. I started watching Taxi TV, scouring the taxi forums, attended the road rally, kept submitting stuff to listings, and learned so much about the music business, sync licensing, recording, mixing, and songwriting. Just an incredible amount of education. I dove into instrumentals and cues for a while, ended up signing several of those with publishers, basically the same way as the above deal. I had a couple placements in Europe, and then a TV promo, and also an episode of MTV Cribs in the UK. How am I doing on time? Okay, I'm going to give myself 10 more minutes here. This one's from Mark Parr, East Sussex, United Kingdom. By the way, are you noticing how many people come from far, far away to go to the road rally? So if you're going to use the excuse, like, I live in Indiana, it's going to take me 3.5 hours to fly there, come on, get real. People literally come from the Middle East, from Europe, from Eastern Europe, from South America, from Asia. People come from all over the world. So stop complaining about the plane flight. Do you want to create a career for yourself in sync? Do you? Why wouldn't you do what these other people, there's evidence right here, real evidence. All you got to do is do what they do. You don't even have to believe me. Believe them. The advice given by taxi screeners has always spurred me on to improve the quality of my work. I attended the last road rally, which exceeded my expectations, well worth the long-haul flights from the UK. Yes, it is, if I do say so myself. Here's one from Madrid, Spain. Miguel Angel Conde Canencia. I really messed up your name. I'm so sorry. I've signed 3 publishing contracts in the last couple of months. Good news. I was about to post here for the first one. Another deal came in, then another one. I simply can't believe it. I've been working really hard for this, but I didn't expect it would go this far. All the contracts have resulted from taxi forwards and come from great libraries with lots of placements and nice and experienced people who are very enthusiastic about my music. It looks like these will be long-term relationships. What I like most about Taxi is that if you work really hard, get a decent percentage of forwards, sooner or later you'll hear from music libraries. Also, Taxi provides a number of ways to improve your craft. The YouTube channel, Taxi TV, the Taxi forums at forums.taxi.com, books, and of course, the Road Rally. I can now see with some perspective after the Road Rally that I've improved a lot, not just the music, but in my attitude as well. Here's another one from Dean Turner, San Mateo, California. I found out that I had placement in 2 episodes of The Challenge on MTV. 1Q Labyrinth was placed by a music library whose CEO is one of my one-to-one mentors at the Taxi Road Rally. That meeting led to a publishing deal. The other Q, Circle of Deception, was placed by yet another music library I signed with as a result of a Taxi forward. Dean added, Taxi's listings have given me access to people in the music industry, business that I wouldn't have had otherwise. Taxi TV is a great resource for information and motivation, but the highlight of the year is the Road Rally. It's a wonderful opportunity to meet and hear from experts in various aspects of the industry. It's educational, inspirational, and a lot of fun. I could not agree more, Dean, and thank you for sharing that. Always great to see you and your lovely wife at the Road Rally. By the way, a lot of people like, my wife's going to get really pissed if I go to California all by myself. Well, guess what? Bring your wife. I know it sounds horribly sexist to say this, so please forgive me. I don't intend it to be. But many of the guys who belong to Taxi feel that they have to justify the expense going to the Road Rally to their wives because their wives may see it as folly. Surprisingly enough, the wives that have come with their husbands always make a point to track me down at the rally and say, I wasn't a fan of my husband coming. He twisted my arm and begged and offered me a 2-day trip to Disneyland, which is only about a half an hour away from where the rally is held. So I said, okay, and now I'm here. And I got to say, I love the Road Rally. I'm not even a musician, but I will be back. And so there you go. So if you are a wife with a husband who is a little skeptical, or a husband with a wife who's a little bit skeptical, get their butt on an airplane and bring them out and use 2 days at Disneyland as the bait. I don't even remember who this one's from. Here's one from Greg Carrozza again, Albuquerque, New Mexico. One more interesting thing I forgot to mention is that David and I met by chance at the Road Rally during a listening panel. He was already in the room. I came in, happened to choose the seat next to him. This is probably a very common story. It is. It really, truly is. Here's Monquette Thomas from Alpharetta, Georgia. Monquet. Monquette. Taxi has one of the most unmatched musical communities I've ever experienced. I also enjoy Taxi TV and the forum. The Road Rally that I attended was priceless. The information gained and overall experience helped my professional focus. I appreciate the opportunity to learn and grow. I also like the honesty and the critiques from the Taxi screeners. So there you go. Road Rally, Taxi TV, forum, and feedback from the screeners. Everything I told you is in the forum, or in the formula, right there from Monquette Thomas in Alpharetta, Georgia. It's so obvious. Here's one, I can't seem to figure. I don't think I copied the name over. I have to say the taxi is starting to be one of the biggest events of my life, and I'm not saying this because this library signed me. The real reason is that I feel I have improved as a musician and an engineer. My music is closer to what's needed, and now I have goals and great motivation. Here's one from Anelda Spence in Brentwood, Tennessee. Anelda told us, I also signed a song to another new contract thanks to the Taxi Road Rally Happy Ending Pitch Panel opportunity. It's the very last panel of the week, and we call it the Happy Ending because those of us who work at Taxi are really happy it's over with and we get to not stress out for 90 days leading up to it. I'm currently in talks to sign another 2 tracks with this company in February. But, there you go. Another Road Rally signing. Here's one from Robbie Hancock in Victoria, BC. I love how welcoming the taxi community is. I remember the first road rally I went to and how intimidated I felt. Things changed very quickly once I put myself out there. Yeah, all you got to do is stand in line and say, hi, I'm Robbie. It's my first road rally. How about you? And that'll be it. It's over. Right then and there, you will no longer feel intimidated, scared, uncomfortable, or like a wallflower. Things changed very quickly. I attended the classes, the panels, and hung out around the hotel lobby bar. No comment. Shaking hands and kissing babies or trying. Oh, no wonder I saw you getting carted away by the cops with your hands behind your back. Most importantly, I connected with amazing mentors like Robin Frederick, who's helped me so much in my journey. Thank you, Robin. I've watched every current and back episode of Taxi TV and spent a lot of time on the Taxi forums early on, honing my craft and getting help from the senior members. Little did I know that they would eventually become my collaborators and friends. I've never experienced anything like it, a diamond in the rough company. What do you mean diamond in the rough? We've had 33 years of polishing this diamond, Robbie. Giving musicians hope and real opportunities with honesty and integrity. Thanks, Michael, and the whole staff. Well, thank you, Robbie. Here's one from Diana Oman in Redondo Beach, California. What I like most about Taxi is the staff. Honestly, every interaction is pleasant and hopeful. They treat members like family, and they work their tails off to make the Road Rally the best sync conference in town. I'm going to one-up you on that, say it's the best sync conference anywhere. Just saying. Here's one from Cass McKenty. Cass, where have you been, buddy? Cass was a daily visitor on the quarantini happy hour things that we used to do during the quarantine, the lockdown. He reports, because of a relationship born at the Road Rally with an upcoming music library, I just signed a 10-song album of happy, playful acoustic instrumentals. 8 of the instrumentals are solo, one's a collaboration with Taxi member Michael Sinka, and the other's a collaboration with Taxi member John Pearson. I'd be willing to bet that he met both of those people at the Road Rally. Okay. Last one. Dave recently wrote to say, it's from Dave Friedland in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. As a 5-year Taxi member, I continue to be thrilled and amazed to be part of the greatest independent A&R company in the world. Getting rock band Brainchild signed to a record deal is absolutely mind-blowing. It's a direct result of being a Taxi member. I saw the Taxi listings for vintage music popping up on a regular basis, decided to submit. They were forwarded to a company that specializes in vintage. It's truly amazing that music we recorded in 1971 would garner a record contract 50 years after the fact, but as with many Taxi success stories, that's exactly what happened. I even met with the 2 executives from the label at the Road Rally Taxi's convention. Okay. Well, I didn't make it through 100 pages, but I would be willing to guess that I made it through about 70. So there you have it. Let me pop the chat room back open so I can see you guys. Andre, yes, the goat man. I miss the quarantinis too. I really, really love doing them. I think it really helped keep me sane and keep all of you guys sane because we became such a tight little family. I did them for like close to 2 years, I think, from the kitchen table at Laskow Family Residence. Anyway, okay, everybody who is going to the Road Rally for sure this year, Give me an RR in the chat room. And while you're doing that, I'm going to pop up the books again. These are the books that we're going to give away. Doug Rickett says, Road Rally is life. It really is. Marion Laird has all the books. What's the middle book? Oh, sorry. There you go. Steve Barden's excellent book. Edmund, it's going to be tough for you? No. Gotta come, dude. All right, so here's what we're going to do. If you live outside of if you live outside of the United States, please don't try and win a book, because honestly, it costs so much money to ship it over there it costs way more. Like, to just send a book to London costs more than the book itself. And you would think that we'd be able to order something on Amazon and have it delivered to you there. But again, so expensive. We've tried everything. We've even tried a couple of times using digital gift certificates, and the people bought other stuff with it. Anyway, okay, so here's what you do is if you don't have, I don't know, let's give away Dean Crepane's book, Demystifying the Genre, which I think is all these books are incredibly good. Let's do a quick drawing for that one, Demystifying the Genre, and type in DK for Dean Crepane, and Liz will pick somebody for that. Again, if you live outside the U.S., I feel terrible, but sorry. You are excluded, which I know is horrible. As soon as they finish coming in, Liz will pick one, and we will move on to Steve Barden's book. Okay, looks like they've quit coming in. Liz, perform your magic. Plenty chilly in here now. I love a nice cool room. Okay, let's see. Lacey Pham, at Lacey Pham, who I don't know who that is, wins Dean's book. Congratulations, Lacey. So, Lacey, what you need to do is email Liz, L-I-Z, at taxi.com, and put in your subject line in all caps, "One Dean's book" on Taxi TV, and give Liz your street address, etc., and she will send you. You met Dean at the rally, impressed with his knowledge and spirit. Yeah, Dean's a good guy. Really good guy. He should be a conceited jerkwad for as accomplished as he is, but he's not. He's a really, really good guy. And when we endorse books, I have read the books. I've actually read Demystifying the Genre, I think 3 times. I've read all these a couple of times at least. Gotta have them. Okay, next book. Writing Production Music for TV by Steve Barden. Another incredible book. Literally, it's like, if you were to do nothing but get these 3 books, you could skip going to music school for 4 years, because you're going to learn so much more from these books. This one, type in, again, if you're outside of the U.S., please don't enter, and I'm sorry about that. Type in SB. SB. Yeah, Martin, I was going to give a copy of Dean's book, Q-Tips, away today, but I've only got 1 copy here, and it's all marked up already. Liz, if you could tomorrow, would you please email Dean Crepane and tell him Michael says he could use a half a dozen copies of Q-tips to give away? Thank you. I'm so generous with other people's stuff. That's what I really like about me. Now, that is good logic. Steve Barden has the same initials as myself, Steve Bruce. Therefore, I should win. Hopefully, Liz will take that under advisement as she shuts her eyes, goes up and down the list with her finger, because that's how we pick them. Very scientific. I'm sure that we have somehow escaped any semblance of dealing with the law of, what do they call that? Not the law of gravity. Whatever, I don't remember. Okay, and while Liz is calculating, law of averages, that sounds about right. Probability, thank you. Let's see, George Howard, Geo Howard, I'm guessing it's George, wins Steve books. Okay, you know the drill, Geo. Please, oh yeah. Yay, crowd goes wild. They love you. They love the fact that you won the book. Let's see what's on this one. Yes, you got a book. All right. Liz at taxi.com. Please email her your contact info and your mailing address, and you will get a book. And last but not least, this book, which it always amazes me, Robin's first book, Shortcuts to Hit Songwriting, is a bestseller and still keeps selling and selling and selling years later. And this book does not sell as much. It sells like half as much. But you would think that people would be so interested because it's the only book, literally the only book on the market that points out the differences and shows you how to write songs that are better suited for film and TV than just writing songs. So Shortcuts to Songwriting for Film and TV, I am the publisher. I make like $2 if you buy that book. But somebody's going to win it today, and you'll see. You'll be looking at it going, okay, you know what? If you're doing instrumentals, there's no hope that you're going to do songs for film and TV. Don't bother entering the big contest. Let's let somebody win it that actually writes songs and would like to write songs for film and TV or already does. Okay? Nancy Simone says Robin's book is superb. So I won't enter this contest because I own it. See, there you go. There's unsolicited endorsement from Nancy Simone about Robin's book. All right. For this one, type in RF for Robin Frederick. Good luck. Let's see. What do I have that I can play for you guys? I see sparkles coming out of my teeth every time I hear that. It's the winning fairy. There you go. I've got a second bank of soft buttons that have other sounds. I just can't figure out how to get that second bank. It's using the same buttons but with different sounds, and there's nothing that lets you toggle over there. I don't know how that works. I'm dumb. Okay, Gordon Lustig wins this one. Yay, congratulations, Gordon. And I was trying to think over the weekend about what I could do for next week's show. And then it occurred to me, I haven't done a show with Rob Shirelli in a really long time. Would you guys like me to see if Rob is available? I don't know if he's working on a record right now or whatever, but whenever Rob's on, we literally don't even have to have a topic, and people are like, that was so amazing. We learned so much. Yes, Rob. Rob's great. He is great. I'm so proud of him. He's got his 6th Grammy now. And I've known him literally since he was 20 years old, and just love watching how his career has gone. And he has worked so incredibly hard. So there you go. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed today's show. I hope I impressed upon you how important it is that you come to the Road Rally. And I will see you next week for another exciting episode of Taxi TV Live. Bye-bye. Thanks for watching.